In this video, we start a new woodblock print project of the gunks. I'll show you how I glue down the key block design, a little bit of carving, and finally inking the key block for making the color transfer sheets. Now let's get started. Alright, welcome to a new project. I have a little print here. Well, it started as a small sketch in my sketchbook, and I figured I'd import it into Photoshop, blow it up, put a nice border around it, and try to work from a small sketch. It was probably like 3 by 7. I don't have it in front of me, but maybe about half this size. And I liked kind of the quality of it, and figured it would make a nice little print. And now for this project, I don't really have a plan other than the format. And also I'm just going to start with this as a key block. So my goal is to glue this down and then carve it. And I'm going to use a little bit of artistic license. I'm not going to carve every single line that's in here because this was a marker rendering. So I won't be including all of these lines. And I highlighted some areas that I know I want to work on once I get into the carving of it. I'm going to trim up some of these trees, open up some space here, and I'm going to kind of edit it along the way with my knife while I'm carving. So I have a nice piece of cherry here, American cherry. It's got a bunch of little sap marks or knots. It's mostly sap, I think. And I have this big sap spot here, but that will perfectly fit right where the sky, right where the empty part of the sky is. So I'm going to glue this down to get it started. We'll get a nice peel going, and we'll start there. First I'm going to cut the kento. Kento is another name for registration marks that line up the paper's edge for all of the different color blocks. It keeps everything lined up. There's just a vertical cut. I'm using a flat chisel to cut straight down into the cherry block. I use the knife to cut the basic shape that I need for the kento. Here, I use a small bullnose chisel to clear away around the kento. Now it's time to put some glue on the block. Use nori. I apply a generous amount of glue, making sure it's evenly applied across the surface. Once we have a nice application of glue. Time to press down our transfer sheet. This transfer sheet was printed from my Photoshop file. It was from a scanned marker rendering in my sketchbook. Slowly peel the backing paper from the Gampi sheet. Just going to make sure it's pressed down all the way. There we have it. The beginning of a new design. Let this dry and then I'll start carving. It's important to keep your cutting tools sharp. Here I'm using a diamond stone to put a clean, sharp edge on my cutting knife, or hangito. First, I sharpen the bevel side. Then the flat backside of the blade. Looking good. When cutting straight lines, I keep the knife at about a 45-degree angle for the first cut. And a slightly steeper angle for the second cut. I slowly work my way around all of these fine details and textural hatching lines, trying to preserve the line quality of my initial marker sketch. I will post another video of me just carving this block for all of you who are interested. The carving is finally finished on this key block. Now I will wash off the Gampi transfer paper and get ready for printing. Alright, this block is cleaned off, it's dry, and we're going to start moistening it to make our transfer sheets. Now before we just splash black ink all over the surface, we want the moisture level in the wood to be proportioned properly. So I have a small brush that's been soaking for a few minutes and it has some moisture in it. So I'll start with just that. I'll just go over the whole design and you can see the wood is taking in the moisture from the brush. So we want the surface that we're printing from, and also we want the brush to have a certain amount of moisture in it. We don't want it soaking wet, because then when we do the transfer it'll give us some sloppy lines and it won't be a clean impression. So we just take our time here, kind of just let the wood soak in the water. Just kind of warm it up. And I know it's going to need some more, so I'll just give it a couple more sprays. I'm even hitting these low areas to try to make it consistently the same amount of moisture in the wood surface. You could use a slightly larger brush for this, but I like using a smaller brush. I have a little bit more control. And I could feel the surface with my hand. It's almost getting to the point where I can add some ink. So again, just adding a little bit of mist. And I think we need a little bit more light on the surface. Let's see here. It's a little better. And I could feel and see that this is about right and this is ready to go. So here we go. I'm going to take my black Sumi ink and cover this wood surface. This wood surface will never look like this ever again. After all that time carving and making sure everything is carved properly, just give it a old black ink across the whole surface. I'm kind of just going to paint it on to start here. Make sure I get the border. A generous amount of Sumi ink is needed to prime the clean wood surface. I end up using oil pigment for the actual print edition, but right now I'm just using the Sumi ink to apply it to the transfer sheets. Now this wood surface is just soaking in this ink. So I'm just allowing it some time to fully absorb. I'm not in a rush here. Also gives me time to get to know the surface of the block. These areas that need a little bit of light touch, where you're picking out little areas where ink can get stuck in the direction of the carving. So I'm going to need some more. Just going around the perimeter and then into the design a little bit with some more ink. And after this, we'll take a first impression on just a piece of copy paper and we'll reveal the new key block for this design, which is always very exciting. So here we go, let's do it. First impression off of this new block. just on a piece of copy paper. See the design coming through the paper, and that sound is good. Here we have it. First impression. For our trees, our rock formation, it's looking good. I think I'm happy with that. So we'll continue to keep inking our block. Gonna need some more ink here. See, I don't want this oversaturated with ink or moisture. Just a little bit of water is all I need. So this time we'll do an impression on an actual transfer sheet. So here we go. This is a actual transfer sheet with the Gompi. And I don't like that corner so much. So let's grab another one. I have to clean up that corner on that sheet. See how this turns out. Gives us enough information to transfer to a color block. Need a little bit more ink. We'll do it again. And we just continue pulling some of these impressions until we have enough for our color blocks. I'm gonna need maybe 5 or 6, I believe. Thanks for following along on this new woodblock print project. Please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on the second part of this print series. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy carving, happy printing. Bye for now.